If you heard someone say they ate 5 eggs every single day for a month, you might think they were asking for a heart attack. But surprisingly, that's exactly what Bill, a 67-year-old retired police officer from Florida, did. After 30 days of eating 5 eggs each morning, his HDL cholesterol went up, his LDL dropped slightly, his blood pressure stabilized, and he reported feeling sharper and more energized. No signs of clogged arteries, no stroke, no heart attack. So what's really happening inside the body when someone at an age most vulnerable to heart disease eats that many eggs? Why didn't his heart numbers get worse? Instead, they improved. Is this just a rare case, or is there real science behind eating eggs daily, especially for people at risk for stroke and heart attack? Today's video will walk you through exactly what happens if you eat 5 eggs a day for 30 days. We'll break down how the nutrients in eggs affect your blood vessels, cholesterol levels, brain function, and heart health, using modern medical insights and guidance specifically tailored for people over 50. Are you ready to discover the truth about eggs and ask yourself whether what seems risky might actually be the key to preventing your next heart attack? Eggs are one of the most nutrient-dense natural foods known to humans. A medium egg contains about 6 grams of high-quality protein, all 9 essential amino acids, and more than 13 important vitamins and minerals. But what makes eggs especially valuable for middle-aged and older adults is their high content of choline, lutein, vitamin D, selenium, and healthy fats. Choline plays a key role in supporting liver and brain function and helps regulate homocysteine levels, a compound directly linked to stroke risk. Lutein and zeaxanthin found in egg yolks don't just support eye health, they are also powerful antioxidants that protect the tiny blood vessels in your brain and heart. Vitamin D, which is often lacking in older adults, helps regulate blood pressure and strengthens immune function. Selenium supports healthy thyroid activity, which indirectly affects heart rate and fat metabolism. And the healthy fats in eggs, especially from pasture-raised chickens, can improve blood lipid profiles and help balance hormones. What matters most is that all these nutrients in eggs exist in an ideal bioavailable ratio, meaning your body can absorb them almost completely without needing additional supplements. For people over 50, this is a major advantage because the digestive system's ability to absorb nutrients naturally declines with age. Eggs offer a natural, affordable, and effective way to protect heart health without relying on medication or synthetic supplements. One of the main reasons many older adults hesitate to eat eggs is the fear of cholesterol. It's true that one egg contains about 186 milligrams of cholesterol, all of it in the yolk. For years, dietary cholesterol has been blamed as a major cause of heart disease. But modern science tells a different story. Large-scale research from Harvard and several cardiovascular institutes across Europe has shown that cholesterol from food does not significantly affect blood levels of LDL cholesterol in most people. The real culprits are sugar, ultra-processed foods, and trans fats, which raise harmful LDL particles, specifically the small, dense type that promotes arterial plaque buildup. When you eat eggs, especially as part of a low-carb diet rich in vegetables, your body tends to increase HDL, the good cholesterol, and shift LDL into a healthier pattern. Eggs promote the formation of larger, less inflammatory LDL particles, which are much less likely to oxidize and trigger atherosclerosis. In addition, eggs contain phospholipids, a type of fat that helps build cell membranes and improves cholesterol transport. This is especially important for people over 50 as lipid metabolism often becomes impaired with age. Eating eggs properly can help rebalance blood lipids, reduce stress on the liver, and maintain vascular flexibility. The key is how you eat your eggs. If you deep fry them in vegetable oil or pair them with sausage and bacon, the benefits are lost. But if you boil, steam, or lightly pan-fry them with olive oil and combine them with leafy greens while limiting sugar intake, eggs can become a powerful tool in your strategy to prevent heart attacks and strokes as you age. In people over 50, the brain starts to undergo noticeable changes. Short-term memory declines, focus becomes harder to maintain, and information processing slows down. These changes result from a combination of factors, including chronic low-grade inflammation in the central nervous system and a lack of essential nutrients. Eggs are one of the few foods that can directly impact the brain in a way that protects and supports recovery. The standout nutrient in eggs for brain health is choline. It's essential for producing acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter critical for memory and cognitive function. While the body can make a small amount of choline on its own, it's not enough to meet daily needs, especially in older adults. One egg provides about 150 milligrams of choline, which covers roughly 25% of the recommended daily intake for adults. But choline isn't the only benefit. Lutein and zeaxanthin found in egg yolks are powerful antioxidants that protect brain cells from oxidative stress caused by free radicals. These free radicals contribute to neurodegeneration, Alzheimer's disease, and damage to the brain's blood vessels. Recent studies have shown that people with higher lutein levels in their blood tend to preserve better cognitive function as they age. Eggs also contain vitamin B12, which helps maintain the myelin sheath, a protective covering around nerves that acts like insulation. B12 deficiency is common in older adults and can lead to numbness, balance issues, and memory loss. Getting B12 from natural food sources like eggs is a simple and effective way to prevent or address these issues. Eating eggs daily won't turn you into a genius, but it can slow cognitive decline, support memory, and enhance learning capacity at any age. For those recovering from a mild stroke, having enough choline, B12, and anti-inflammatory nutrients from eggs can support nerve healing and improve recovery outcomes. Many people still believe that eating eggs is harmful to heart health, but modern nutrition guidelines have shifted significantly. Especially for adults over 50, those at higher risk for heart disease and stroke, eggs, when eaten the right way, not only pose no harm, but may actually offer surprising benefits. One key factor is choline. Choline helps lower homocysteine levels in the blood, an amino acid closely linked to an increased risk of atherosclerosis, heart attacks, and strokes. In fact, elevated homocysteine is a stronger predictor of cardiovascular events than cholesterol itself. In addition, eggs provide selenium, vitamin D, and antioxidants that help reduce chronic inflammation in blood vessel walls. Inflammation is a core driver in the formation of atherosclerotic plaques, which can lead to blocked arteries, heart attacks, or ischemic strokes. A 9-year study in China involving over 400,000 adults found that people who ate one egg a day had a 26% lower risk of stroke compared to those who rarely or never ate eggs. While other lifestyle and dietary factors also play a role, the results support the idea that eggs are not a food to avoid when it comes to heart health. More importantly, eggs improve cholesterol quality. In older adults, regular egg consumption tends to raise HDL, the good cholesterol that helps remove excess LDL from artery walls and transports it back to the liver for processing. At the same time, LDL particles shift from the small, dense type, which is more likely to contribute to plaque buildup, to larger, less harmful forms. For those with a history of heart disease or who are managing blood pressure, egg consumption should be paired with a balanced lifestyle. But when eaten the right way, eggs are not a threat. They can actually support stable blood pressure, prevent plaque formation, and improve overall cardiovascular function. Still, not all ways of eating eggs are heart-friendly, especially for middle-aged and older adults. Several common mistakes can cancel out the benefits of eggs and even increase the risk of heart disease and stroke. The first mistake is combining eggs with unhealthy fats like processed meats, bacon, sausage, margarine, or frying eggs in heavily refined vegetable oils. These foods contain trans fats and harmful omega-6s that promote inflammation, disrupt lipid balance, and accelerate plaque buildup. A breakfast with eggs fried in oil and served with sausage can completely undo the heart health benefits of the eggs themselves. Second, eating eggs alongside too many simple carbohydrates, such as white bread, white rice, or sugary foods, can cause blood sugar to spike after meals. Repeated blood sugar fluctuations are known to damage blood vessel linings and accelerate the formation of cholesterol plaques. For older adults with prediabetes or those managing high blood pressure, this type of meal pattern can increase the risk of cardiovascular complications. Third, consuming eggs from unreliable sources, such as industrially farmed eggs raised with antibiotics and growth hormones, poses additional concerns. These eggs may contain residual toxins and are often lower in key nutrients like omega-3s and vitamin D. For seniors with a weakened immune system, consuming such eggs increases the risk of metabolic issues, allergic reactions, and widespread inflammation. Lastly, eating eggs too late at night, especially after 9 p.m., can place extra strain on the digestive system and disrupt sleep quality. For individuals with a history of stroke or high blood pressure, poor sleep is a known trigger for early morning heart attacks. To maximize the heart protective benefits of eggs, it's not just how many you eat, but also what you eat them with, when you eat them, and what kind of eggs you choose. These seemingly small details are actually key to preventing serious cardiovascular events that commonly affect people over 50. In many cardiology clinics across the U.S., doctors are beginning to shift their nutritional advice for older patients. Some patients have avoided eggs for years due to fears about cholesterol. As a result, many ended up with choline deficiencies, lower bone density, cognitive decline, and no meaningful improvement in lipid profiles. In contrast, patients who included 1 to 2 eggs per day as part of a balanced diet saw significantly better outcomes. One notable example is Robert, a 63-year-old from Ohio. He had been diagnosed with high blood pressure, elevated cholesterol, and mild type 2 diabetes. After avoiding eggs for 8 months, his LDL remained high, his memory declined, and he often felt tired after lunch. When he switched to a natural, protein-rich diet that included 2 boiled eggs each morning with vegetables and reduced carbs, his HDL levels increased, LDL improved, blood sugar stabilized, and his post-meal fatigue disappeared. One key point to note is that for individuals who avoid eggs, deficiencies in vitamin B12, choline, and lutein are not easily compensated for through other foods unless they rely on supplements. However, these nutrients in supplement form are often less bioavailable and lack the natural enzyme cofactors found in whole foods, making them less effective than the nutrients in natural eggs. Beyond that, eggs also play a role in maintaining lean muscle mass, a critical factor for heart health, and in preventing heart failure among older adults. People who avoid eggs are more likely to experience sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass, which increases the risk of weakness, falls, injury, and even early mortality. From a clinical standpoint, the message is clear. Eggs are not the problem. It's how you eat them and the lifestyle that accompanies them that makes the difference. When consumed properly, eggs can become a key part of a strategy to protect heart health, preserve memory, and support independent living in older adults. The goal isn't to eliminate eggs, but to learn how to use them wisely. This is a practical and powerful lesson for anyone seeking to prevent their next heart attack or stroke. Eggs should not be treated as a standalone food, but rather as a component within a larger lifestyle focused on reducing cardiovascular and stroke risk. For older adults, this means integrating eggs properly into their overall diet and daily habits. First, choose eggs from pasture-raised or organic hens, as these typically contain more omega-3s, vitamin D, and antioxidants than conventionally farmed eggs. An egg rich in omega-3s helps improve the balance of healthy fats and reduce vascular inflammation, a major factor behind heart attacks. As for timing, breakfast is the ideal time to eat eggs. Boiled, steamed, or lightly pan-fried in olive oil are safe methods that preserve the nutritional integrity of the fats. Pairing eggs with steamed vegetables, avocado, or a small handful of nuts creates an anti-inflammatory, fiber-rich meal that helps stabilize blood sugar levels throughout the morning. Older adults can safely eat up to 2 eggs per day, split between breakfast and lunch, depending on their individual cholesterol levels and overall health status. What matters most is avoiding processed foods alongside eggs and steering clear of pairing them with large amounts of sugar or refined carbs at the same meal. In addition, eggs can be a strong ally for those practicing intermittent fasting. Starting your first meal with eggs helps increase satiety, reduce insulin spikes, and extend metabolic stability throughout the day. This is especially beneficial for individuals who have experienced a minor stroke or are managing high blood pressure. Another key factor is physical activity. Eggs provide high-quality protein that supports muscle recovery after light exercise, such as walking, yoga, or cycling. When combined with regular movement, eggs become a catalyst for improving heart function, maintaining flexible blood vessels, and lowering the risk of blood clots. In short, to use eggs as a tool for protecting cardiovascular health, you need to think beyond the meal itself. It's about designing an overall lifestyle, including diet, sleep, exercise, and stress management, where eggs play a central, accessible role that delivers real benefits when used wisely. One of the most common questions from older adults is, "I have heart disease, high blood pressure, or a history of stroke. Can I still eat eggs every day safely?" This is a valid concern, but it's often driven by outdated or incomplete information. The American Heart Association, AHA, no longer recommends rigid limits on dietary cholesterol as it once did. That's because newer research shows that cholesterol from food, particularly from sources like eggs, does not significantly raise blood cholesterol levels in most healthy individuals, including those with cardiovascular risk factors. The real issue lies in the overall dietary pattern and lifestyle, not a single food item. Several clinical studies have even shown that people who eat eggs regularly, while maintaining good control over total calorie intake, reducing refined carbohydrates, and increasing fiber, see improvements in HDL cholesterol, blood pressure, and insulin sensitivity. This is especially important for older adults with a history of diabetes or lipid disorders, as they are in the highest risk group for heart attacks and strokes. However, it's important to emphasize that if you have severe metabolic dysfunction, extremely high LDL cholesterol that is uncontrolled, or chronic liver disease, you should consult a cardiologist or registered dietitian before making eggs a daily staple. Still, in most cases, eating 1 to 2 eggs per day is considered safe when combined with a healthy diet rich in vegetables and low in sugar and unhealthy fats. A simple rule: don't treat eggs as the enemy. Instead, place them within the bigger picture of how you're living your life. If your lifestyle is anti-inflammatory, low in sugar, physically active, and you manage stress well, then eggs are a natural and beneficial fit for your heart. If your lifestyle works against those principles, then even cutting out eggs won't eliminate your risk. In short, eating eggs the right way is safe and can even be beneficial for people with a history of heart disease, as long as you actively manage your other risk factors. Instead of reacting with fear, take time to learn and make informed choices, because that's how responsible adults protect themselves from their next heart attack. When we talk about heart attacks and strokes, most people immediately think of medications, medical equipment, hospitals, or major interventions. But there's one simple tool sitting right in your kitchen that may help reduce the risk of these life-threatening events: an egg. Throughout this video, you've seen clearly that eggs are not just affordable and easy to find. They're packed with valuable nutrients that support cardiovascular health, brain function, and metabolic balance, the 3 pillars of wellness after age 50. Choline protects the nervous system, lutein acts as a powerful antioxidant, protein helps preserve lean muscle, healthy fats support lipid balance, and vitamins D and B12 help regulate blood pressure and reduce silent inflammation. Of course, eggs are not a miracle cure, but when eaten properly as part of a well-balanced lifestyle, they can be a powerful piece in your long-term strategy to prevent stroke and sudden heart attacks. This is especially relevant if you're already living with chronic conditions, concerned about memory loss, blood pressure, or cholesterol, or simply want to stay strong and healthy well into your later years. The most important thing to remember isn't how many eggs you eat each day, it's how you incorporate them into a balanced lifestyle that includes proper nutrition, physical activity, stress management, and quality sleep. Eggs are no longer the villain many people once believed them to be. Eggs are a tool, and you are the one who decides how to use that tool to protect your heart and brain in the years to come. If there's one small change you can make today to prevent a major health event in the future, let it be the egg on your breakfast plate tomorrow morning. If you've watched this far, you clearly care about your heart health and want to live a proactive life, one not ruled by medications or fear of the next heart attack. So what about you? What does your daily diet look like? Are you using eggs in a way that supports your health? Share your habits or personal strategies for preventing heart attacks and strokes in the comments below. What you share might help thousands of others take the right step. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to follow the channel for more reliable, science-backed, and easy-to-understand information on heart health, smart eating, and living well after 50. This is where we walk with you, not just to live longer, but to live better with strength and purpose. Tap follow today so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching.